wheelbarrow full of soil, and the way we've been doing this is just kind of setting it on one end there, and this ends up working. This you can do by yourself. I did a few by myself the other day. Way easier with some help. So go ask your kids, your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your dad, your neighbor, whoever, to help you. So when we're doing this, first things first, you got to make sure that your drain hole is in the right position. Okay, so I have the perforated tubing and then the drain hole right on the end of that. It's probably hard to see, but that way it's not, you don't want your drain hole on the side, perpendicular, I guess, to the drains there. So you want it to run parallel. Anyways, so I'm gonna set that guy down up here. I'm gonna make sure that I hold my fill tube in place. Again, I'm gonna take my landscape fabric. I'm gonna kind of try and find the center. It doesn't have to be exact. And then I'm just gonna push that down into the middle. And because we've got a rectangle pushing into a circle or a cylinder, it's a little awkward, but you will figure it out, I promise. The way I've kind of figured it out is push it down until you feel those perforated tubes. Make sure your drain pipe is accessible, and then just kind of use your arms and your elbow and get a little awkward with it and just kind of hold it. Here, look up here, Tiberius, look down in here. Lift it up, lift that up. Okay, so I'm holding on the sides, so now Michaela can fill in with soil. All right, back up a little bit. You just don't want the soil to go on the outside of the landscape fabric there. You want to obviously contain it all in the fabric. So I'm gonna let her fill it up pretty full. If there's any spots where it starts kind of slipping down, the landscape fabric starts slipping down, just stop and reset. You can kind of give it a little bit of a shake. Little tap, lift it up, tap it, make sure that kind of settles in there. Get it most of the way filled up. That's probably pretty good for now. Okay, again, I'm gonna give it a little shake, a little tap, and then I'm gonna push it around. And at this point, the fabric should kind of stay there. So I don't wanna fill it up all the way, move. But I do wanna kind of push it to the outsides, make sure that I don't have any little gaps where there's soil gonna go down into the water reservoir. That's not what we want. We want all the soil to be contained within the landscape fabric, okay? So I'm not pushing this down too hard. It's gonna settle over time, I'm sure. It's gonna sag down on either side of those perforated tubings and hopefully in between. And like I said, that's what's gonna allow the fabric with the soil sitting in it is gonna dip into the water, and that's gonna allow it to wick up. So I set it up like that. I'll bring it over to the table, grab my scissors, and I'm just gonna trim the excess here. So start in one spot, and I just go around the rim. And again, there might be a better way to do this. This is the way I'm doing it. I'm gonna see if it works. If it works, I'll keep doing it. If someone has a better way to do it, come over here. Try and get it up top here so you can see what I'm doing. Up a little higher, right there. Yeah, just kind of cut it around. Get that excess off of there so it doesn't look all crazy. You don't want it to look unsightly. I mean, big white tubs aren't the prettiest thing, but they work. The other thing, I highly recommend, if you're anything like me, have a trash bag accessible, because for the longest time I kind of push things onto the ground, throw it on the ground and say I'll pick it up later. Then I don't get around to it, and then I feel like a slob. So we got that cut, ready to go. I'm gonna bring it back over here to the soil, and I'm just gonna top it off. So I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna kind of mound it up, if you will. That's good. Drop it on, back up a little bit. And then I'm just gonna kind of push that out and just kind of fill in. Now at this point, if it kind of goes over the edge of the landscape fabric a little bit, that's not the end of the world, because there's so much in there that it's not all gonna fall down. And that's about it. So from there, we just do the rest. So we'll fill it up. We'll add some fertilizer before we plant, and that's about it. That's a finished self-wicking 5-gallon tub, and that'll be perfect, hopefully, for one good tomato plant, 1 or 2 peppers, depending on what type you're growing. But yeah, that's about that. That one's moist, that one's wet, that one's a little dried out. That's why they look different. Anyways, so I've got 6 more up on the table, ready to get done. So I'm gonna knock those out. And that's about it. And then hopefully we'll get those plants out and we'll transplant some and we'll get a video of that too. Planting Power Rangers.
Yeah, they're going.
Anyways, we got through it. We got them all set up there. So we got 15 self-wicking, self-watering, however you want to say it, 5-gallon buckets. So now that we have those, hopefully in the next couple hours, we got all kind of plants there. Tomatoes and peppers mostly. Get those planted up and see how it goes.